what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, TyBuggy. Hey, man, your boy's back in the building, man. And today, I have another special guest. Hey, man, this is my other partner in crime when it came to TJ and TK growing up, man. I got my older brother. I only got one of them. Now, I mean, only one older sibling. I got him right to my left, man. It's my boy. Introduce yourself, bro.
What's good, you guys? My name is TyBuggy, like P. Henson. Spelled differently, with an O instead of an A, with an E instead of an I.
Bro, it's so crazy, like, just seeing us now, bro. We have beards. Well, you have a beard. You got a whole beard, bro.
Goatee, man. Like.
But yeah, bro, it's crazy seeing us now, bro. Look at us now, bro. We old. Like.
Yeah, I remember us talking about this, like, as kids, especially with TJ and TK. Like, man, I can't wait to be grown. I can't wait to be on my own. And,
bro,
you know, be grown. And at that day has come. Like,
bro, you know what's crazy, bro? We had like a level of imagination to where we can see each other's imagination. Like, me and my brother used to play this game called TJ and TK. He was TJ, TyBuggy. I was TK. My real name Tyreek, for you all that don't know. And our imagination, like, we were in the same place. If I said I had powers, you saw my powers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he always had, like, some type of psychic powers.
Dark.
Or, like, he was always the dark
telekinesis. I always want to control things on my mind.
Bro.
So, yeah, that's crazy.
I never told you, and this is kind of like just hopping into it, whatever. And another thing, whatever, we used to play basketball together. Now, I mean, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, we saw
that. A lot of people don't know. You used to play with me. The junior Knicks.
You remember we did suicide outside?
Bro,
we were on a training regimen,
bro,
okay?
in Harlem. I mean, hooping, like, really out there, bro.
For those of y'all who don't know, basketball up north ain't no joke. Like,
bro, it wasn't no joke,
It's
bro.
no joke. And when you're between the ages of 7 to 12, you're being trained to be scouted for the NBA.
Nah, for real.
That early.
Bro, they had us with the Caillou haircuts and everything, bro. We was really out here like Dumb and Dumber. You could not separate which kid is which. We had the same cut. The big head boys.
They had the same cut. Yo, everything, man.
Bro, we had the noggins. Bro, but I mean, like, because of that, because, you know, where I was living, like, with my mom at the time, because I would just, like, visit y'all on the weekends for y'all that don't know. I didn't have, like, a sibling over there or whatever, like, and to have a brother, like, it was just so dope. Like, I mean, like, it was like having a best friend that I didn't have to force to be my friend. Know what I mean? And then it was like, we're going to be brothers forever. You know, although we have different parents or whatever, you can never take away the bond that we have as brothers.
Right.
You know
what I mean? Can't make our relation any thicker. Like,
yeah, facts. So the situation, basically, to just clear it up, his mom was with my dad. Know what I mean? And that's that. Know what I mean? And nothing could make us closer. Know what I mean? But fast forward into 2005, I think you moved into that's when y'all came out here to Atlanta.
Yeah, 2005 when we moved to Georgia. Yeah.
So 2005, you know, they moved out here, whatever, and I was jealous. I'm not gonna lie, like, y'all had the big house. Now, I mean, you know, I'm still in New York. You're not getting no big house. I still had like 5 other people living with me. Now, I mean, and none of them was my siblings. I had my mom, my grandmother, my cousins, my uncle, my aunt in and out the house. Like, I had so many people, and y'all just had a whole family foundation. You had my dad over there, you had your mom, you had the siblings, like, in a nice house. So, like, bro, like, one thing I never really told you for real was, like, bro, the only reason why that I came to Georgia was to be with my brother. It wasn't to get close with my dad. It wasn't like, I was too young to care about, like, oh, I want to be close to my daddy. Like, it wasn't like that. Like, I mean, now I see the necessity in it, and it wasn't to be with my sisters, to be with my little brother that was gonna bother me. I mean, shout out to Precy, whatever. He couldn't be on this episode. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, bro, I really came out here because I was like, bro, like, I want to be with my brother. Like, it don't matter what circumstance. I know it's more strict over there, but TJ and TK was the best game.
Inseparable.
Bro,
yo,
there was
that's
no
video game. Like, no cap. Like, honestly, if we really probably should have talked to, like, a game developer and say, yo,
bro, we
got this hit called TJ and TK. We probably would be.
But I don't even know, like, what type of characters. We would just be out here. Like, sometimes we'd be against each other. Like,
right, you can select all. Look, you want
Bro.
Dual casting product.
We would literally sit at the edge of the bunk bed like, all right, bro, so who are you? Like,
literally.
I am, like, these are the powers I have. Like,
yes, and the pillows were the energy projectiles. Like, when you got hit with an energy projectile,
bro,
you were injured.
the
Like,
pillows
it was so
crazy.
dramatic. Like, you fell out and you
was standing
out and somebody had to come heal you. It was a process. Like, you wasn't just, like, you know, nowadays when you play these games, like, you know, it seemed like everybody just invincible. Nah, like, vulnerability is a thing. Like, vulnerability is a thing.
As kids?
Yes, as kids.
Bro, you would sit there like this.
And you better look. And when that happens, you are, at that moment, you are vulnerable. You cannot move. You can't do anything.
Bro, you better react. Like, and then like let somebody not react, bro. That's not real. That's not real.
But it's like you were so in sync, though. It was just amazing how, bro. It's like we almost like you said, like we saw each other's imagination. Like I was in your head, you was in my head. Like the movie was playing. Bro. I don't know what type of telepathy.
Bro, it was crazy, bro. But it was so real. It was so real. I literally, like, back to what I was saying, whatever. Like, I literally was like super confident in leaving my mom just to go be with my brother. You know what I mean? Now let's kind of fast forward into you know, well, let's not fast forward. Let's get into the questions. I just wanted to give that context or whatever, just for people to understand our relationship, our childhood. You know what I mean? The best side of it, because like that's how our relationship was. TJ and TK was us. You know what I mean? We had the bald cuts, we playing ball. You know what I mean? And then as we got older, you know, things got a little misconstrued, and that's why this moment right now is really is very special to me. You know what I mean? Because me and my brother, for us to be so close, but then we became so separate. Like, I'm not gonna spoil it or whatever. I'm gonna let you, you know, unravel the story. Yes, you know, so
there's a lot to unpack.
Okay, so the first question I want to ask you, bro, how would you describe your upbringing to a stranger?
That's a great question. If I had to describe my upbringing to a stranger, the best way that I can explain it was that it was a nurturing, organized chaos. And I feel like
you're very good at putting oxymorons in the same sentence. Yeah, I love that.
I mean,
you're very good at doing that.
The reason why I say that is because,
but it makes sense. Yeah,
I learned so many just like morals just from growing up. Like really, really strong things I learned growing up was like, you know, families, no matter what, like your siblings, you always be there for your siblings. That's like a really strong theme that I learned. Family is everything. Like nothing comes before family. Yeah. That's another theme. So like really a lot of my upbringing had a lot to do with like making sure that the family unit, you know, always stay together, sticks together, and you protect your siblings. You do whatever is necessary to ensure, like, basically, like, they good. Like, you know, your siblings come before anybody. Like, and I think that's what I'm so grateful that, you know, I have all my siblings in my life still. Yeah. And we're still, like...
Preacher said the same thing in his episode.
I'm so grateful. Like, we got a whole group chat, and we can just talk to each other just about anything.
Just about anything.
But, yeah, like, as far as that, you know, that side. But, you know, everything wasn't, you know, cherries and ice cream, unfortunately. I did experience, you know, being what we can call being in the closet, just due to just not really kind of understanding my identity as, you know, being gay, like not really how to navigate that, not just as a Black Christian, but just even just for myself, like, because you got the oppression kind of coming from the outside, and then internally just navigating, like, how do you be gay and Christian at the same time? I struggle. I think that was one of my biggest struggles, was trying to figure out how to navigate. Like, because that was a really big core value, was Christianity, spirituality, believing in God, believing in Jesus, and following the Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Like, I remember I learned that very young. And, you know, when you're a kid, a young person, and you're being told, like, you know, well, what you're doing isn't in alignment with God's love, God's teachings, it can cause some issues for somebody who's still, their brain is still developing, they still really don't, understand who they are. Because we don't. I mean, let's be real. Like, we don't understand who we are. Sometimes we don't get to where we know who we are till we in our late 30s, 40s, sometimes even 50s, probably later than that. So I feel like my upbringing was really a learning experience, in the point that, one, I got some really tough, hard lessons in life that I was able to kind of apply that to other kind of things in my life as far as relationships, but also just understanding that, even struggling with my own sexuality helped to empower me be the advocate that I am today.
Mm. That's a very good. This is a very good explanation. They gonna put that in the newspaper. That boy to practice a speech, boy. You like MLK?
This is real.
Nah. That's dope, bro. So let me ask you a question, bro. To the dysfunction and you feeling like you was in the closet and stuff. Do you? Well, first I want to ask you this: did you ever feel like you was alone? You know what I mean? Being that you felt in the closet. To be in the closet is to be away, to not be seen. You know what I mean? So do you feel like you was alone?
Me being in the closet, for me, what it felt like, the reason why I felt alone wasn't necessarily how I was being treated by my siblings.
Totally tell them, bro.
It was more so the way that society viewed me, because nowadays, I mean, I ain't trying to be funny, but it's cool to be gay. Like, yeah, it's just stigma, but it's like part of pop culture. Like, it's a cool thing. But
yeah,
when I was growing up, it was still very much like, if you're gay, like, you need to keep that on the low. Like, you're not supposed to be gay. Like, and if you are gay, keep it on low. But that was kind of exacerbated in my instance, because I, coming from a strong religious Christian household that was like a powerhouse when it comes to Christian values.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I felt like I had to kind of dissociate myself from my own body almost to even kind of exist. Because like, how can you be gay, but live in this anointed family of people that believe in God, have high spirituality. You come from this family, but you're gay. And almost it's like I had to kind of like distance myself from myself. Yeah. I think that kind of caused a domino effect of not just distancing myself from myself, but that actually had an effect on my siblings as well, because they also noticed my distance from them. And even just distancing myself from my parents, because I was angry at them, because it's like, you're basically telling me like I'm a sin, like I'm wrong, I'm immoral. And it made me kind of upset, that I would, like, why can't I be this way? But, even kind of understand their upbringing. Like, they were brought in Christian households, with the ideologies as far as, Sodom and Gomorrah, and the whole, notion that, homosexuality is a sin, along with adultery and all those other, commandments that you're not supposed to break, things like that. And when you have this essentially like generational kind of patterns of how to practice Christianity, that gets perpetuated in your family values. So I don't blame them for acting the way they did or doing the way they did. I just understand that it is a product. It is a systematic concern.
So let me ask you a question. So if you had a son, right, how would you have went about the situation?
Well, I wouldn't assume that. One thing about me is, I would say that when it comes to like gender and sexuality, I don't feel like it's something that could just be like placed in like a box. Like, oh, like I'm not gonna put my son in a gay box category unless if he tells me he feels like he's that way. We're gonna take an opportunity to explore that. We're going to take an opportunity to kind of talk about your feelings and why you feel the way you feel, and even just kind of educate you on, based on my personal experiences, what I felt like, and, how you can kind of navigate through that, because a lot of LGBTQ youth, I hope that's the correct acronym now. Even as a gay person, I have to keep up with the acronym sometimes. Seriously, I have to keep up. Yeah. But, as an LGBT person, I'll keep it short. As an LGBT person, it's challenging to really it's challenging to kind of help, because my role even as an educator in the community is kind of figuring out how can we help families, and I'm actually writing a blog about this, by the way, if you guys are interested, but how can families navigate after they find out that a member of their family is LGBT, how can they navigate through that? How can you? Because there's gonna be trauma, there's gonna be some dissonance, but once that happens, like how do you kind of restore that? I think a lot of times what happens is once that kind of dissonance presents itself, it's never addressed. It's just kind of swept under the rug, like a lot of traumas and stuff in the Black community. It's just swept under the rug, and what happens is folks go years and years and years of not restoring these relationships, and it causes so much anguish and turmoil and distrust and anger. And then by the time you in your 50s and 60s finally trying to unpack what was bothering y'all from childhood, like I feel like that's a big problem about community. Like you should not wait till you're 60-some years old and you're finally.
That's a long time.
That's a long time to be.
So unhappy. Let me ask you this: so if you felt like, because you was a kid, I mean, you was a kid. Where, if you felt alone at home, where did you feel like where did you feel comfortable?
Honestly, so this is actually not funny, but it was a lot. I had a lot of time just doing a lot. I did a lot of research as a kid. I was very tech savvy as a kid. Like I was researching as I was in high school, and I would research because I would just honestly want to figure out like, well, how can I emancipate myself? And what emancipation basically means is that you basically become your own legal,
legal guardian.
Basically, your own legal guardian. Like you'll have rights over yourself, essentially.
But where would you go though? Where would you like?
So
where would you be?
I did speak to like school of like I was I was an office aide person. So it was a school resource officer who she was gay. Yeah. Well, at least I assumed she was gay. I made an assumption based on her haircut and just she will always talk about her partner, but would never say like him. She would never use like he, him, or his pronouns. She would always talk about her partner. And she did appear to me to be more, a little bit more masculine presenting, which made me, believe.
Try to talk to me.
Believe the assumption.
Don't talk to them.
Oh, so believe the assumption that,
Talk to me like you're talking to me. You're talking to me like you make a presentation. Nigga, just talk to me.
That's the teacher in me, though. That's the teacher in me. That's my fault, y'all. But he basically like just really just kind of understanding like what is like the root of a lot of things.
But where would you go? Because I know you was in a band.
That's the thing. There wasn't really nowhere.
There was no place.
I didn't really have a mentor. I didn't really have like a safe space to really go. I think that's why it was so challenging. That's why I kind of do the work that I do now when it comes to like just social justice issues, because LGBTQ don't really have like a safe haven. And if there is a place, they still need.
What do you mean they don't have a safe haven?
There's not really unless they have parents that are affirming of them. If you let's say you're an LGBT person and you live in a household that's super like conservative Christian, really firmly believes like, if you're LGBT, you're gonna go to hell. Let's say that there is a program that you can go to, but in order for you to participate in a program, you need parent consent. Well, that kind of deads that that outlet or that support that you can get, because if your parents are against that type of lifestyle, why would they approve you getting support? So that's kind of where, my mindset was, because it's like, even as a kid, how do you don't really know how to advocate for, like, I don't know, like, hey, where can I go? Is there a support group for other youth that feel like this I could come talk to? Like, I didn't know how to articulate that as a kid.
I want to ask you this. So I want to rewind to back when, we was kids. So was there a situation that happened to you that, or do you feel like you were just born this way? Know what I mean? And when I say this way, do you think you was just born liking the same sex? Know what I mean? Or do you feel like, or did something happen? Know what I mean?
As far as like just any traumatic experience?
Yeah. And it doesn't have to so much be traumatic, but something to leading you to not being heterosexual. Like,
I would say for me, I was exposed to porn like at a very, very young age.
For real?
I think I watched porn for the very first time. I think I was like 7 years old when I watched my first porn. And I remember it was a man and a woman. And I remember like just I just could not believe, like, because, that was my first time I saw a vagina. That was the first time I saw a penis and breast.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot going on. I was like, whoa. Like,
how old was you at this time?
I was 7.
So prior to this, you just liked women.
Well, I didn't know what I liked. Of course, I said I didn't know what I liked.
Yeah. That's a fact.
At that age,
especially you didn't like women. You liked little girls at 7.
I was peaked, I think I was sexualized at a very young age. Like, I was interested in just what sex was.
Yeah.
Because I was exposed to it at a young age. And even just kind of having flashes of just like I just have like little flashbacks of just watching like different porns and doing research. Like, I used to Google things like gay boys kissing. Like, I was very things that were considered taboo that somebody wouldn't like explore. Like, oh, I'm not going to look. I would actually like
So you
follow up and explore those things and try to figure out, make sense of those things.
Right.
And the more I explored, the more questions I had, which led to more questions. To then eventually I got to a point where I actually want to experience like intimacy and connection with a guy to see what it's like. And I remember the very first time I lost my virginity for the very first time when I was 15 years old. I'll never forget the first time I lost my virginity. I went to Six Flags. I lied about where I was going. I told our parents that I was going on a date with a girl. I lied to them. I said, yeah, I'm going on a date with such and such. I can't remember what name I used. But I ended up meeting, it was my boyfriend at the time, which of course was a secret relationship. And we went on a double date. It was our other 2 friends. And we went to Six Flags. We had a ball. We had a great time. And then we got back to his house. He was all there. I remember we listened to Rihanna and Rude Boys. And they were doing a little dance routine. Next thing you know, everybody went into their separate rooms. And shabang bang shaboom boom. And then after that, I was so traumatized. I remember, oh my God. I remember when Daddy came to pick us up. And I was shaking. I was shaking in my boots because I was like, oh my God, I just had sex. Like, it was a lot. And I was just like quiet the whole ride. Like, I didn't say nothing.
Because he had like a detective way about him. It was hard to hide things from him.
Nothing from him. So I'm really in the car like, I'm like shaking.
Yeah, because the smallest thing, you done told it yourself. At least you feel like it. Yeah.
I was shaking and I felt weird because I was just like, I felt so weird because like that was the first time my body like did something sexually. So like my body just felt really weird.
So the first time you ever been with somebody was with a dude? Oh, wow.
The very first time I did something sexual.
That's so crazy because, like, me and you have been with girls. Like, know what I mean? Like, and when I say been with girls, like, we went on double dates with girls.
Yes. And we actually used to like go into abandoned houses.
Yeah. I remember that
one time. Oh my gosh.
You know what's so crazy? Like, even about that day, and this is why it's so crazy to me because, well, like, sometimes, like, it just be like, wow, because how everything played out. Because, like, even that day at that abandoned house, like, for me, that was like a dream. When I said I'm moving out here, I'm like, oh, me and my brother, we about to get all these girls. I remember we went to the movies with what's her name, Shanique and Monique or something like that. Yeah. We went to the movie. Yeah. I was way too young at the time, but anyways or whatever. And I remember being in that abandoned house, bro. You was in that room for the longest with that girl. And I remember, like, I was, like, with a girl, like, in the closet, trying to, like, trying to finesse my way, and she not going for it. So I'm like, I ain't never did this anyway, so I wasn't tripping, I mean.
And you know what's so crazy, though? Yeah. The conversation we were having, so she was literally right on top of me, right?
Yeah.
And we were having a conversation, because this was a girl that actually, like, ended up being in a relatively short relationship. I don't can't remember if we actually, like, got together. But she was literally right on top of me. I remember I was talking about the only reason why I did not have sex with her that day is because I did not have a condom. And I was so paranoid because I was like, it'll be my luck the first time I have sex. And boom, she get pregnant and boom.
Get pregnant. It's crazy.
That was so like, that's another thing. Like back then, like if you got somebody pregnant, you were just seen as like this like horrible, like like bad child.
I think my biggest question, bro, is because I never cared, like, you know what I mean? And as young as I was, like, I mean, I feel like I had a different level of just thinking, even as a kid, I mean, And like I understood certain things, and certain things just didn't matter to me. So like the bond that me and you had wasn't TJ. It wasn't like if we could just get girls, bro. It was TJ and TK. I mean, it was us. It was our bond. It was the two cool kids. So and together like we are us. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like around the time of you know, coming out the closet or whatever, or I guess, you know, understanding your sexuality, like you distance yourself from me. And I think my biggest confusion is why didn't you feel like, or why, I don't want to call it confusion, but it is confusion. Why didn't you feel like you could tell me? Now, I mean, why didn't you feel like you could come to me? Like, I mean, TJ and TK, like, I mean, like I don't feel like we ever had the type of relationship to where like I'd make you an anomaly or you would tell me something. Like, bro, I used to call you weird for things you didn't like. I mean, you used to call me weird for the thing, but we would still like be like glue. I mean, it was never a point in time like we would judge each other to the point where it's like, oh, like I don't want to be his brother no more.
Right.
Even when we argue, fight. I mean,
it was such a scary experience. I think for me, I didn't really fully understand what it meant to be gay. So it was a scary thing for me. So for me to even kind of, it was hard. It was easier for me to come out outside the family, but when it comes to like in the family, it was, I guess for me it was just difficult more so because I already know I was getting rejection like from just society, just period. Because it just was not cool to be like, it was not like being gay was not like a fun thing like back when we were growing up. Like it wasn't something that like, oh, like it wasn't like where if we have like so much support now and so many different groups rallying and things like that wasn't really existent within our particular community, you know, where we lived per se.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I just wanted to kind of distance myself from that identity, but I think that indirectly kind of caused me to distance myself from you because, and I think it kind of relates to toxic masculinity too, because I think in my head, like if I wasn't the brother that like played basketball and you know like the girls or,
but Taraji, you do realize that you stopped playing basketball when we were like fucking 11. you stopped talking about girls like, I mean, when we was what? I think I was like 13 or some shit. Like after that bando, that night we was in the bando with them girls, like bro, we had no other conversation about girls. I could tell certain things like you just didn't like.
I was
so
interested in like
yeah, but like but you again, my hey man, this part of the episode is brought to you by Burnout Challenge Fitness. Hey man, if you got any type of body goal, you know, if you're trying to get a bigger booty, a little booty, and you ain't got no gym equipment, you got gym equipment, you want to get your arms bigger, your chest bigger, you don't know what workouts to do, download Burnout Challenge Fitness. It is on the App Store, all right?
I think a lot of it, like I think I shielded a lot, and I think more so is for me kind of protecting out from my own emotions. Because I didn't really want y'all to know just how depressed like I was, like just how bad it. Like I was not happy at all. Like once I realized, like once I started like coming to terms with like my sexuality stuff, I was not happy. Like I want to leave like that house. Like I want to go because I just felt like the black sheep. Like even if I was necessarily treated like the black sheep, which I feel like my upbringing was much more favorable than a lot of people because a lot of people are like kicked out on the street. Yeah. They're like beat on, like punched and slapped and all types of crazy horror stories. My experience wasn't like that. It was more so just from an emotional aspect of like just being reminded, like, you know, being gay, that's against God's word, that's against the Bible. It's almost like going to school every day and like your teacher telling you like you're on red. And you don't understand why you're on red. It's like, I'm just being me, but you're saying I'm on red. It's like, for what? So it's like almost being on red every day. You're always on red. And you like, as the bad kid, you just, it's like, I almost kind of saw y'all as the good kids. And then I was the bad kid. Like, y'all were moral. Y'all were just. Y'all were righteous. And I was like the bad, immoral, like,
all because of your sexuality.
Kid. Yeah, because of the homosexuality spirit. I would never... Every time I hear homosexuality spirit, I just cringe because it was a spirit. So when you keep hearing that, you internalize that. Now it's like, oh, I don't want to get this spirit on you or our other siblings or anybody else that's in our family.
Do you
I don't
still
want
believe that?
Hell no.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Hell no, I don't believe that shit.
Yeah.
But excuse me, my friend.
No,
But yeah, like it was a spirit. So if you keep hearing spirit, you don't want to bring bad things to people you care about. So I think indirectly, subconsciously, I try to hold a lot of things in so that other people wouldn't be affected by that ripple effect, including you. So I think that's more so what it was. And just really not understanding, like, again, like what the hell it means to be gay. Like, I was just so conflicted that I think I just rejected everything about my identity that was like, that was an important part of me.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It's almost like protecting your surroundings. For me, bro, like from my point of view, and this is why I love this conversation. I mean, because we can see the point of views. Like, it's all life is perspective. Yeah. I mean, for me, it was so confusing. It was so confusing because I'm like, okay, how would a brother feel in a position where the family is like ostracizing you? Cause I saw it. Or like you feel ostracized or whatever. How would you want your brother to react? I mean, that you grew up so I was like, okay, that's the role I gotta play. I mean, that's who I have to be. Who would that be to me? So it was like, nigga, just act how you been acting. Act normal. Like, don't act like it's almost like people that's in a wheelchair. They don't like to be helped. They want to feel like motherfucker, I'm just like y'all. Like,
and I probably did at that point in time. I probably did need like a first aid, like help, like nigga, I need to be resuscitated, like nigga, shock me, nigga, like shock me.
See, and I didn't, I just thought the complete opposite. I was like, don't make him feel like anything. And then you want to know so crazy, bro.
I feel like you felt like that. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I think you felt like that because I always had to portray myself like as because the oldest has to be like,
you are the oldest.
You always have the oldest has to be like set the example and be strong and be perfect. Like, I always felt this burden of having to be perfect. Like, you're the oldest, so you have to set the example for your siblings. You have to cook and clean. You have to do this. You have to show them the way. Like, it was so much pressure being the oldest child.
I can only imagine.
It was so much pressure. So having to always be perfect, and then almost like I slick felt like I was like I had to kind of groom you too. Like, they want our parents wanted me to groom you, like groom, and I didn't really feel comfortable with that because it's like you're your own person at the end of the
day. And I think that's definitely something that parents like have to see, that your kids are gonna be different. Like, everybody can't pass down something because the other one might not receive it. But to what I was going to say, like, for me, it was like, okay, be there, just act normal. You know what I mean? So, like, in school, for example, school is like the perfect example for me. Because, again, I'm heterosexual, right? You're homosexual at the time. Me and you, crazy thing about it is, we're going to get into that too. We never talked about it. Like, we've never talked about like it was literally like the thing in the house, but me and you would never talk about the elephant in the room. That's what I was looking for. Bro, we would never talk. We would just act literally like we don't know what's going on, and like we're just going about it. And to me, it was like, he'll be comfortable, when he's comfortable. I don't want to bring it on him. I don't know how he's feeling. And me not being emotionally intelligent as a kid is like, I don't really understand this. So all I know is be there for him. Now, I mean, all I know is be you. Now, I mean, and he will be him. Be TK, he'll be TJ. And the older I got, like, I was just like, it was something. I don't remember what it was. It was something when we was back in my old house, and I said something, and it was so funny. It was funny to me later, but it was like I think I mistake and said gay instead of another word, and I don't know what made me say the word, but it was so funny because I said that. But it wasn't funny because, like, I heard the way you responded. You said something like, and like, to me, it was like, does he think I give a damn about that? Like, I don't. You may not remember this day, but it was that time that I was like, no, there's no reason why we're like not talking about this as if it's a thing. Like, I feel like not talking about it makes it something. You know what I mean? So like now, I I want to have that open line. Like, bro, you can literally do whatever you want to do. You're not my brother because we have similar sexual interests. You're my brother because we have a bond that I didn't have with friends. I don't have with friends. You know what I mean? So now to rewind a little bit or whatever. School. School was the most confusing time for me because it was like, okay, again, like you said, to be homosexual at the time wasn't it wasn't super promoted. Know what I mean, it wasn't out there like that. You know, people wasn't just openly just homosexual. Know what I mean, so me having a gay brother is like I'm tied to it, and I know how.
My biggest,
but no, listen, but listen.
Too, yeah.
I know that, okay, this is something that, you know, like kids roast, you know, kids talk shit, you know, that type of stuff. I know this is gonna come up, but bro, like, word to me, I never cared. I stood on my principle. I was like, I don't care if I'm in a room full of 30 students and everybody roasting and somebody try to like throw my brother under the bus or something. Bro, I'm gonna sit there like that's part of the roast session because it's normal. Yes, that's my life, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, like why is he like that? Or nah, they ain't my brother. Like, bro, I never felt like that, and I remember it happened one time. I think it was this girl. Her name was Sydney. I'm saying everybody. Fuck. Like, I'm way past that life, but yeah, I remember she had said something or whatever. And that was the first time that I was just like, dang, that is a thing. Like, but I in my body, I did not care. It was all part of me. So with saying that, bro, like I never felt any type of shame. I never felt like, fuck, why is he like this? Like, now I mean, of course there was times where I was like, damn, like it would be nice if me and my brother go on like a double date or some shit. Like, and then I still felt like I was still confused. I was like, but he be talking about girls kind of like, and I could tell, you know what I mean, like you kind of like him too. So it was just a little confusing to me. But to go back to school, because I keep talking around it, my biggest confusion was you treated me as if I embarrassed you. And that's not to say you was embarrassing me, but I feel like anybody else would have felt like, oh, like let me not show everybody that's my brother. You know, I don't know what they know about him, you know, because of the time that was. But I personally didn't care. Like I was just like, yo, Taraji, I'll never forget. It was a hallway by the library. That's the time we used to always see each other. It was like a period that we would always see each other. Yeah. And you would be walking dumb fast. Now I mean, with your straight ass walk, you know what I mean, flat footed as hell. You know what I mean? And I mean, Taraji, and you was just and just keep it pushing. And like for me, you know how my experience was at the house. Now I mean, we'll get into that. But it was like, wait a minute. So now our relationship is messed up? How did our relationship become messed up? Because of his sexuality. Like, I know I'm acting normal. I know I'm not treating him like he's different or anything. Like, you know what I mean? I know I'm treating him like my brother. Or was I? Now I mean, my question to you, bro, is why was that a thing? Like, why was that a thing? Like, whereas I don't care. Now I mean, but you would just walk by me like, oh, I don't want to be seeing that kid. Oh, I don't want to. Like, bro, you literally drop your head and keep it pushing. Like, I mean, it was a couple times that I even had to talk to daddy about it. Like, yo, Taraji just be walking by me at school. You know what I mean? So, like, from your point of view, because I want to know, where was your head at that time? Like, what would make you walk past TK like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, like, I definitely was very self-conscious when it came to, like, my, like, reputation and things like that. So, it was already kind of being spread. Like, I would say my 9th grade, 10th grade year, I was very much so still, like, in the closet. Some people knew, and it was starting to speculate. But when I really 11th grade year, that's when I really like came out. Like I was out the closet, like pantry door open and everything. So yeah,
cookie jar.
I was very self-conscious about that because even like you said how the girl made the joke, I would internalize like I guess that was my way of like, okay, maybe if I don't say nothing to him, they won't like. It's almost like I wanted you out the line of fire. Like I don't want him. I don't want him being bullied or. And I think part of me, I think I projected a lot of my fears. I turned like a lot of myself fears. I projected that onto you. So how you're saying if you didn't treat me that way, I knew that deep down, but I was projecting how I felt about how society was treating me. So you merely became a part of a heteronormative society that I was trying to reject.
So it was kind of like how you were expecting me to see you.
Yes.
And I mean, is the way you
It's
kind of
reality
framed
that I was getting. And that's why I'm saying, like, I was really struggling. I think that's probably why I was feeling sad too, because I really, in my mind, kind of felt like I was alone. Like, even though I wasn't really technically alone, and I probably solicited like support from my brother earlier on, like I probably would have been in a better mental space. I was so like, it's even been time I haven't really told anybody this, but it was time I thought about killing myself because I was just not happy. Like I'm like, why do I have to be like this? Like why can I just be like normal like everybody else? And it was just it was so much pressure. Like going to church every Sunday, you need to go to the altar, you know. So like so much pressure going to the altar call. Like every time, like you know when it's about to be altar call because the pastor start doing hallelujah, yeah. So you know something altar call.
Start feeling it, guys.
And then you got that. And I'll never forget. I used to always get this tight feeling in my chest, like nervous. Like I would be nervous at church. Why are you nervous at church? Nervous, like just shitting bricks. Nervous at church, like oh my god. So here comes the pastor, and you know they always be like, you know, there's somebody in the audience right now that needs to come. Like the spirit is trying to move you, and you know me being young and you know in the moment. Okay, that's me. Like the Holy Spirit talking to me. I need to go.
Bro, it's always that there's someone in the audience that's what it hits you. That's what it's like.
And I used to feel, you don't understand the guilt that I used to feel so guilty. Like literally every Sunday, another missed opportunity to save myself from being homosexual. Another missed opportunity. Another missed opportunity. So then I started to just feel like, oh well, I'm homosexual because I'm failing to take action. I'm not doing anything about it. So that's the reason why I'm homosexual, because I had all these opportunities to go to the altar call, but because I'm afraid and because my faith isn't stable or my faith isn't strong enough, I didn't redeem myself at the altar call and get saved. So that was like, that's probably one of the reasons why I kind of like, I would say I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not a religious person. Like I really, really, really cannot deal with going to church because I think church has caused a lot of trauma for me. Even just remembering, like I remember some of the sermons, like the preachers and pastors would be saying, like they would spend a whole sermon talking about, and it wasn't even about gay people, about transgender people, but just about the LGBT community in general, about how, and like, you know, about cross-dressing and, oh, that's not a being of God, and you're not gonna come to my church looking like that. And I used to be so confused. I'm like, how can you talk about love and acceptance and, you know, forgiveness and the prosperity, and you're really like on the pulpit going in on like the LGBT, like going in. Like,
so do you feel like the main place that was supposed to like accept anybody,
yes,
did not accept you?
And that shit fucked with me. So excuse my language. That messed me up because it's like, and I could not understand it because everybody in my family was so into like religion and Christianity. It was so into it. But it's like when I noticed just those like attacks on certain like subgroups of people, and it was like everybody clapping and hallelujah. I'm just like, we're saying hallelujah and we're literally bashing like a person. But hallelujah, thank you Jesus. But we're bashing a person. We're talking trash about them. We're not empowering them. It's one thing, and that's another thing too, which I had to grow to learn, is that just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful about it. It took me a long time to really to understand it. Like you could disagree with something, or you could disagree with something tolerated, or you could disagree with something not necessarily accept all of it, but it's all about compromise, and it's all about making like new traditions for what you're doing. You don't agree with homosexuality. You don't agree with being somebody being trans. You don't agree with that. Okay, well let's talk about, at the end of the day, I'm still your mom, I'm still your brother, I'm still your cousin, I'm still that family member, regardless of whether or not you don't agree with my identity. So where do we move from there? And that's why I'm writing this blog now, and I'm gonna publish it soon. But that's why I'm writing a blog just as a guide for families on what to do, because I'm sure we're not the only family that's going through this. I'm sure there's like so many families out there, that don't, especially in the black community, we don't like to talk about stuff. We don't like to talk about trauma. We don't like to talk about toxic masculinity. I've seen a post, and this is kind of funny, but I've seen a post where it's like somebody posted, "Is it gay for a straight guy to like wipe their butt after they go boo boo, like number 2?" And somebody responded and said, "Oh, if you're touching anywhere in that area, a straight guy said this." And I know they could be trolling, but it's like, you gotta be messed up. I'm not about to wipe. I'm just gonna let it dry and decompose. You're not supposed to. Okay, you're not supposed to
that gotta be.
Now, I don't know.
Gotta be trolling.
I don't know, because it went viral.
That is crazy.
He was in the comments actually defending it. I don't know.
Yeah.
The point is, toxic masculinity is a real thing. Toxic masculinity presents itself, in the church. It does all the time. And I just feel like we just need to be mindful, especially when you're talking to like youth who may be trying to understand their gender or their sexuality. Just be open-minded and educate yourself. Like, do research, reach out to nonprofit organizations. There's so many resources out there now. There's something called amaze.org that literally does like videos on like consent and stuff for younger kids. Because of course you're not going to talk about sex with younger kids, but they still do need to know about consent. They need to know what a good touch is, what a bad touch is. They need to understand those things so that when they do, if they experience trauma, or how they can kind of navigate through situations that could cause trauma and be able to talk about it. So you're not 50 years old unpacking when you got molested at 5.
Right.
That's a problem.
Right. That's a great point. I never, as a father, I never thought about, like, of course, I have these conversations with my daughter, but like this should be a thing like in schools. I mean, to where they teach kids like, okay, this is a good touch. This is that's a great point, because you think about it, it's not until it's too late that we teach them, like,
we're being reactive and not
proactive. But yeah. What was my initial question?
You were just asking me as far as like if you asked if you treated me any type of way.
Okay. Yeah.
And if church, like, how did church kind of show up for you in your life, and as far as like how.
So did you ever try to like because it sounded like you were under the impression as a kid that whether you believe it or not, whomever believes, that you had a gay spirit on you. So did you ever try to pray your gay spirit off you?
Did I? I did all types of stuff. I would read the Bible. Like I had Bible study every night. I would read the Bible. I prayed to God to remove the homosexuality spirit. I think I did at one point. I did go up to the altar. I can't remember which particular Sunday it was.
So you was really trying to not be.
Oh, I tried my heart, because I went through a stage of, I went from being DL to being bisexual, because I still dating girls if I went fully like talking to guys. And then now it's like, now I'm evolving even more, because I don't really consider myself gay per se. I consider myself queer, and that's a whole nother conversation. I consider myself queer because I don't really like to identify with, because labels come with associations. Like, a lot of people say, oh, if you're gay, you have to be like this super flamboyant, messy, promiscuous person. So I try to kind of dissociate myself from a lot of these labels. And I really like the queer label because, like my brother said, like, there are instances, like, I can't say to myself, I would never, speak to a woman. Me and my best friend, my best friend is a stud. We talk about this all the time, because she's even just, exploring things. We have conversations all the time as far as like exploring our sexuality and not, not putting yourself in a box. Like, I would never do something unless you just, I've never been a person to be like, this is what it is. Like, I've never been that type of person. So just even as an adult, just kind of navigating like what that looks like and what that means. You know what I'm saying?
So back to the question I asked you earlier. So something did happen. Now I mean you said it was the porn. Now I mean you was kind of
it was being exposed to sex at a very young age, definitely for sure. Um, and I also do just remember just I don't know. It's almost as if I was just kind of like fixated just on sex.
Yeah.
And just even just.
But let me ask you this though. What if do you think what would be different if your parents had to came to you and gave you the birds and the bees conversation? Now, I mean, and really explain to you what it is and talk to you about your exploration. And I mean, kind of answer some of the questions you had instead of feeling like you had to hide them. Because what it seems like to me, and you can correct me, it seems like to me that you was addicted to understanding what's not supposed to be talked about. You know what I mean? So it's like you went down a rabbit hole that like it became your interest. You know what I mean? So now it I have to ask myself like, what if that wasn't something that wasn't not popular to talk about, whatever that word is. And I mean, what if it was something that, okay, no, we'll talk to you about this. We'll explain to you what this is. And I mean, how do you think that would have affected who you are today?
I think if I would have had that conversation, I think it definitely would have allowed me to kind of be more open, and because I definitely just kind of put myself in a box like, oh, this is what I am because I'm different. I know I'm different, so this is what I am. But I definitely think it would have allowed me the opportunity to kind of just question like what exactly, like what even though I was still young, just kind of really understanding like what I liked and what I didn't. Like I didn't really have time to kind of think about what I liked and what I didn't. Like I was almost kind of told like, oh, you're gay. So, but I never really truly like unpacked what that meant. Like what does being gay mean, and how do I know I'm gay? And I really didn't get a chance to kind of unpack that until I was an adult. And I feel like you said, there should be opportunities. There should be opportunities where families can sit, at the dinner table or sit, and it's gonna be uncomfortable. But I feel like if those conversations are had, it will lead to fewer like youth feeling like they're not heard or feeling suicidal or feeling alone if they have those spaces to have those conversations about what they like and what their needs are.
I feel like sexuality, anything dealing with sex, is like a child driving without a parent. You know what I mean? That's the only place in a child's life that is like that. Because you think about anything else, you could talk to your parents, but this right here, you will have the interest. You are going to find out certain things. You're going to encounter certain things in life as well, but that's the only thing that you have to act like you're not involved in. You don't think about. You can't talk to me about it.
Taboo, yeah.
But anything else, like you think about it, like your parents talk to you about drugs, gangs, being around bad friends, everything. But it's like sex comes with us being humans. Now, I mean, this is literally an emotion that's just gonna hit us one day. Now, I mean, like, but most parents are uncomfortable having that coaching session,
and I forced it down our parents' throat. So let me actually tell you what I did. So I actually got to a point where I just kind of like. It's just like when you shake up a soda bottle, and you shake it up, and it explodes. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. And I wrote, I don't know, my brain was my brain was so ingenious back then. So I actually wrote a letter to them. Like I wrote a letter basically declaring my homosexuality to them. I basically said, hey, like I'm gay, like this is what it is, like this is what I like. I like men. Like I was wearing at the time my boyfriend's bracelet. It said, "What would Jesus do?" I was wearing his bracelet. They was like they could not and I think that's what got them the most was like
the bracelet.
Why are you wearing that bracelet? And just FYI, our parents aren't homophobic at all. It's just they just came from a time where their parents, like that's why we have this conversation now. Their parents didn't talk about it. Their parents didn't talk about it. It was a super taboo thing, and even have a conversation with my coworkers, it's something that is just kind of swept under the rug in the Black community. I'm not sure how it is specifically for other communities, but I know for a fact for the Black community, it's definitely just swept under the rug, not talked about. Sexuality is just a very uncomfortable topic. Even we are talking about like heteronormative sexuality issues like abortion. Very uncomfortable for people to talk about abortion. Right. Very uncomfortable for people to talk about just like polyamorous relationships. Will you ever see Black families talking about like polyamorous relationships? Right. People even know what polyamory is. Like, so it's like things like that is like I feel like people need to talk about because people are going to have these feelings, these curiosities, these ideologies that they're going to want to explore, and they're either going to explore it with the family or they're going to explore it without the family. They're going to find an extended family and explore it with them, or they're going to resort to drugs, and they're going to find a way, some way, one way or another. They're going to find some type of outlet to explore.
You know, my biggest fears, bro, as a parent, as a brother, as a cousin, as a friend, whatever, is anybody around me feeling alone. And I think about the LGBTQ community plus community. And I think about how that must be in a family full of, like you said, like, you know, religious people. You know, I always fear somebody feeling alone and then doing something to themselves. And then we come to the realization of all we had to do was like be there for them. Like
it happens so often.
Their sexuality does not change who they are to us. You know what I mean? Same way I say you're always TJ to me. I'm always TK. You know what I mean? Your sexuality will never change that. You know, but it can be a point in time where you feel so alone because of your sexuality that you will strip at you just like you said, you'll end it all. And, you know, that's always been one of my biggest fears for any family. It's like, because for a lot of us, we're just a conversation away from like stopping at least that from happening, you know, and just seeing like, yo, you're not by yourself, you know. And I feel like there's so many families in which that happens. Like, and I want to normalize heterosexual brothers. Now, I mean, talk to your homosexual brother. Or what, like, bro, because like, if you're comfortable in your sexuality, I mean, like myself, I'm very comfortable with my sexuality. You know what I mean? I love women. You know what I mean? My brother likes men and women. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like I would hate for my brother to have done something to himself for real, me knowing I don't judge him for what he thinks I judge him for, but being that I never had the conversation with him. Hey man, this part of the episode is brought to you by Burnout Challenge Fitness. Hey man, if you got any type of body goal, you know, if you're trying to get a bigger booty, a little booty, and you ain't got no gym equipment, you got gym equipment, you want to get your arms bigger, your chest bigger, you don't know what workouts to do, download Burnout Challenge Fitness. It is on the App Store, all right? I would never want you to feel like, oh, let me end it all because I have nobody, but in my head, I'm like, he has me, you know, but being that we never had the conversation, you never knew you had me. You understand? Yeah. So it's always a big fear of mine for somebody to feel alone. And I know in a lot of families, especially religious families. So learn something from this conversation.
Yes.
This is my thing, okay? You can try to change somebody all day. If they don't change, they don't change. Not only that, I want you to think about the extent in which my brother, was thinking about taking it. Would your beliefs be worth losing that person because you're pushing them off the edge? Now, would it be worth it once they fall off the edge? Or would you be like, damn, why didn't I just grab their hand? So with that being said, y'all let us know if y'all want us to do a part 2 because I feel like we have a lot more to talk about.
We have a lot to unpack.
We could definitely do another episode or whatever.
Just scratch the surface this time.
Just got the surface.
Literally, just scratch the surface. It's so many layers to it. And
hey man, look, we're gonna make them wait. We wanted y'all to comment or whatever. Comment what y'all think or whatever. People that that have had this a similar situation, I want you to comment below. Comment your story or whatever. Like, we read these. I know my brother's definitely interested in hearing them as well. So yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate y'all for sticking through on the Boogie Down podcast. Another episode. I think this is like episode 4. Now, I mean, and this one meant a lot to me. Like, me and my brother have not had open conversations as close as we've been. I mean, we have not had open conversations about this. And I feel like just getting this out the way, just to show, like, bro, we are still like this.
We are still TJ.
Like,
TK.
yeah, you feel me? Like, that's it. Like, you feel me? Like, but yeah, do the same thing in your household. But anyway, hey, man, it's been your boy, TyBuggy, you feel me? And I'm out of here, man. Oh, wait, before I go, shout yourself out, bro. I want to shout out you.
Y'all follow me on Instagram, Hayward Helps. My website, it'll be coming up soon. It is www.tarajihayward.com. That will also be coming up, and you guys can check out some of my blogs. If you actually Google my name, you'll see some juicy stuff come up. Just Google Taraji Hayward. That's Toraje, and my last name is Hayward, Heyward. You'll see something from the body. Go read those. I got 2 articles on there. Go ahead and read those while you guys wait for my my newest blog published to come out. Because when I tell you, we get into the nitty and the gritty of these topics because we just need to talk about it. Our community needs to talk about it. It's important, and overall, it's going to lead to those restorative relationships that we need in our communities.
That's fire. And you have you said you're grad. I don't want to butcher it, but you said you're getting a cert to be
Oh yes. So just to give you, I didn't even give y'all no background on me on who is Taraji. So so right now, just to give y'all some background about me. I am an educator, so I do have 4 years of special education teaching experience. I did start out as an interrelated special education teacher, which means I was that person that will be that second teacher that will be in the classroom or pull them out. I also was a department chair, so I was kind of like the leader of all the special education teachers in my school. And then I actually recently got promoted last year to a district behavior intervention specialist, and I'm currently working on pursuing my board certified behavior analyst certification, which that will allow me to be an independent practitioner. So I'm very excited about the journey, and I would not have gotten here if it just wasn't for my perseverance and dedication and just support from my family. Because honestly, all my siblings, y'all see TyBuggy's work. Yeah, my brother, all of us are hardworking people because of our upbringing. Our upbringing, when I tell you, hard work was such a core theme, and our upbringing, we wasn't gonna be no lazy citizens. That was not gonna happen in this household.
Not the dad we had. Not the dad we had.
Was probably more strict in the military.
No, for real. We wasn't, bro. Daddy couldn't walk by our room. I'm gonna say this, I'm in it, but Daddy couldn't walk by our room, and we was just laying in the bed in the middle of the day. We was not allowed to lay in the bed in the middle of the day.
Get your ass up out the bed.
Yo, till this day, I feel guilty. I feel guilty with laying in the bed.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes when I wake up too, I be feeling guilty. I need to be doing, and I always be wondering, why do I feel like that?
Bro,
that makes so much
that's
sense.
exactly, bro. I'm telling you, that's what. Yeah, you wouldn't let you chill, but hey, man, y'all go ahead, go support my brother, man. Hey, man, it's been another episode on the Boogie Down Podcast, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.
Peace, y'all. Peace out.